From MTN News, you're watching Montana This Morning.
All right, we are in studio here with Senator Jon Tester, and we've got a lot to talk about, as I mentioned. Senator, thank you for being with us on Montana This Morning.
It's great to be here in person.
All right, it is. That's first time in over 2 years. You're kind of our maiden voyage here again.
All right,
so
well,
that's
we'll try not to screw it up too bad.
All right, let's talk. You're here for the dedication of the new Missoula terminal out there.
Yeah, right? Which is it's a big deal because air travel is so critically important, and to have that infrastructure here on the ground in Missoula, a place that's growing, I don't need to tell you guys how it's growing rapidly, and air travel is so important for the economy. It's so important for the folks who want to travel and live here that this is a big deal. And you know, it's not going to get less pressure, it's going to get more, and having that facility to be able to accommodate the people of Western Montana is really important. So I know the airport manager's proud of it, and I hope the whole community is, because it truly is a big deal.
All right, we're going to go from that to the big international story.
Yep.
What's going on in Ukraine? Ukraine looks like they're ready to start moving people into some areas there already, if they haven't. And so your assessment on what's going to happen there and how the Biden administration has done with this so far?
Well, look, what I hope happens there is I hope Putin realizes that he should just let things lie, let things be the way they are. But I think that he's made it clear he wants to try to bring back all the countries back into the old USSR.
Right.
And so you've got all these troops on Ukraine, and my guess is he's probably going to utilize them in some fashion to try to get that country back under his control, whether it's under a puppet government or whatever. And I will tell you that I think the president has done everything he could do, short of putting men and women in Ukraine, and which I think would be a very bad idea. Mm-hmm. But he's supported the Ukrainian government. He's supported them with material and information, and we'll see what happens. This is not a good situation at all. Like I say, I hope Putin pulls back and says, I've done enough, and that's that. But in the end, this has the potential of being really bad. Could have some impacts on our economy, on how we do business, with potential cyber attacks and all that stuff. But in the end, we've got to learn how to live together in this world, for goodness sakes. I mean, this is crazy. This is the biggest, potentially the biggest invasion since World War II.
Right.
This is not good. And I don't know what else to say other than that you know, the United States is very, very well prepared. But, you know, I think it's pretty well known that we're not going to, you know, send in troops and fight this war for Ukraine. We've done that too many times in the past. Mm-hmm. And but we will support them, and as long as they're willing to put up a fight, we'll support that fight.
Now, you mentioned the economy and how this could impact it, and the economy now with inflation and all. You know, homes all around Montana and across the country are concerned about it. What are your worries? What can be done? Well,
I think the biggest worry is potential energy price increases. I mean, I think that's entirely possible. Might happen, might not. But anytime you get in a situation where supply lines are stopped potentially with oil and gas and other things, it can have an impact on prices around the world, which we would not be immune from. I think the concerns about potential cyber attacks are real. This is a new area that we really don't know what the capabilities are out there, and we don't know how they're going to be used more than anything, because and there's no rules of the road on this stuff. And so how it could impact businesses, from financial businesses to energy to just about everything we deal with on a daily basis, it's possible. Now, I hope they don't. I think that could cause a real escalation in tensions, but we'll see what happens.
All right, well, you've been gracious enough to stay through another break for us. I've got some more questions.
Oh, absolutely.
For you. We'll deal with some of the things you're working on in Washington.
Super.
When we come back right here on Montana This Morning.
From MTN News, you're watching Montana This Morning.
And Senator Jon Tester is back with us in studio here. And Senator, one of the big stories that we've been covering the last month is the Freedom Convoy, the trucker blockade, at least for a while, complaining about the vaccinations up in Canada and that. And Montana truckers have been involved in that as well. Your take on that? Are you glad to see it's kind of wrapping up, it seems? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, well, look, we've got freedom of speech in this country, and the bottom line is the trucking industry is very, very important to our economy for supply chain issues, and these folks have every right to make sure their voices are heard. But when it comes to shutting down commerce, you just can't do that. On the other side of the coin, I would just say that hopefully this is over with. I mean, they can still protest, they can still do whatever they want, just don't shut down the highways. And by the way, there's a lot of folks, including myself, that have some sympathy for their position. I mean, a lot of these guys are independent guys, they're struggling to make a living, and they just want to make a living. And so that's that. Like I said, though, when it comes to shutting down the highway, I mean, then you start impacting other jobs, and you start impacting the ability to get products into the United States, and it can have a pretty devastating effect on a lot of small businesses around. So I would say, continue to make sure your voices are heard, but do it in a way that doesn't stop commerce.
You've had a lot on your plate in Washington, D.C., and one thing I'm interested on, I wanted to touch broadly on this, is your bill to allow health coverage for veterans suffering from these burn pits in other countries. That has been a big problem. That's moving along. You're doing, getting that through. But my broad question on that is why do we always often hear, and I don't know much about it, veterans complaining about not getting things covered by the VA?
So, I mean, what I would say to those veterans is get a hold of the VA. The VA's changed. I mean, I can't tell you what it was like 15, 20 years ago, but it has changed, and it has changed a lot. And if you can't get in to see the VA, don't be afraid to pick up the phone, give our office a call. They're looking to get more veterans into the VA. Now, there's a fairly high percentage of veterans that don't use VA care services for education or health care or whatever. It's an opportunity. They served, they've earned this care, and if they want it, all they have to do, in most cases, just fill out the form and you're in. When it comes to toxic exposure, this is the Agent Orange of today, of the Middle East. And we had burn pits where quite frankly, the military should have been using incinerators instead of burn pits, and the smoke came in and burning some bad stuff. Right. And these soldiers, men and women, breathed it in, and now they've got lung disorders, they've got cancers. We're trying to give the VA the ability to deal with that and future toxic exposure issues, because they've been around since since chemical weapons in World War I and radiation in World War II, of course, Agent Orange in the Vietnam War. So we've got burn pits today. We just need to do right. I mean, we still have some things like hypertension that is not covered when the science shows that Agent Orange causes hypertension. Vietnam War has been over for 50 years, and we still haven't done the right thing. We're trying to give the VA the tools they need so they can do the right thing. By the way, if we get these bills passed, that issue about hypertension will be taken care of. I had a bill, just a little background, called the Cost of War Act that dealt with this issue in total. We couldn't get it to the floor. We're breaking it up into 3 phases. We got the first phase done. We got 2 more to do. Hopefully get them done for the beginning of summer. All
right, quickly at the end here, I know you've been trying to get some results done with the meatpacking industry.
Yeah.
The cost of meat's very high, and it's a complicated issue,
Yep.
but you feel like you're getting somewhere on that? I know the president
Yep.
and you are sort of on the same page.
Got a number of bills, or bipartisan bills, that allows the Department of Ag to enforce the Packers and Stockyards Act and bring more transparency to 4 companies that control 84% of this country's meat supply. That's not competition, that's collusion. We need capitalism to work here, so we need to get more competition into that marketplace. We've got a number of bills to do that. If you combine that with what the president's done, I think we're on the right track.
All right, well, Senator, it's been great seeing you again in person, and have safe travels as you head across the rest of the state.
Will
really
do.
appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
All right, very good. All right.